Hello and welcome to the Heresy Lodge. I am your host, Dylan Cooper, the constant host over here.
Gavin Franklin.
Guys, we are here this week to review Praetorian of Dorn by John French. I enjoyed this book. I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah.
A lot of shit happens in this book.
Yes. So
Moves.
the plot does move. I actually read it doesn't, but we'll get to that.
Yes.
So I read this book like 50% of it in like 2 days. I was
same.
really rushed through it.
The last 2 days.
And a lot of times when you do that, the books get unenjoyable, but this one did not. I'm very excited to talk about all the fun stuff of this book. This might be the first time I don't have anything negative to say.
Yeah, I think the last like 30% I started reading last night. I was like, I gotta finish this.
This is awesome.
Yeah, shit was
like what's going on. Yeah.
But before we get too far into the books, we do have to go over our housekeeping shit. So as always, guys, hit us up on Discord. You find that pinned to our Twitter at Heresy Lodge. We also have some sick ass merch. I'm wearing my sweatshirt right now, drinking out of my last pint glass. You can find that in the show notes. Check it out. Bunch of cool shit. Pretty decent quality. You can always email us as well at theheresylodge@gmail.com. We are on the YouTube. Go over there, like, subscribe, leave a comment. If you interact with us, most of the time we'll be putting a giveaway whenever we do those. So we don't ask for a whole lot.
We will do another giveaway. There was a lot, I think, too much of a distance between our last two giveaways. We'll have to figure that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are you drinking today, sir?
So, my good friend, I am drinking from Goose Island Brewery because this was part of my my box of shit. The Neon Beer Hug IPA. I don't hate it for an IPA.
Oh,
it's
that's
actually
interesting.
Okay.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, I honestly, as soon as I pulled it out, I was like, "Fuck, this is gonna be miserable." It's actually pretty decent.
Okay.
It doesn't taste like I'm gonna eat a fucking plant. What are you drinking? Wine?
Are you ready for jealousy?
Never been jealous a day in my
life. I stopped in St. Louis on the way. Oh, because if anyone does not know, probably should say this. I'm in Kansas City for the U.S. Open, the fourth U.S. Open of the year, but the second one that I've been to. Really missing Dylan. Not that Katie's bad company; she's also here with me. But it was just such a good time. So wish you were here. But the other reason I wish you were here was because we stopped at a meadery in St. Louis, and I picked up a whole bottle of mead. So
I've never felt this before. Is this jealousy?
Is this what jealousy feels like? So it is from Burnt Barrel Meadery. They do a lot of meads in bourbon barrels, which is interesting. But then this one is the strawberry mead with rhubarb. I actually am not a huge fan of these meads personally. Katie loves them. They're very syrupy tasting.
Very honey. Very sweet. Or like the seltzers like I had at fucking...
It's not like a seltzer because it's very thick. If that makes sense.
It's one of the thick meads that aren't good.
It's not bad. It's just, yeah, it's a lot. It does taste like I'm just chugging sugar.
I love it when I can feel my teeth actually fall into the mead and I can swallow both.
Yeah. I'll be giving an update on how I do at this U.S. Open. Last U.S. Open, I went, was it 4, 3, and 1?
Oh, yeah, you had your tie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did also send out a tweet. So if you are in Kansas City and you see Gavin, make sure you say hi.
I'll be wearing my merch. I got the merch packed. You'll see me or Katie in the Heresy Lodge merch. We both have some stuff. So, yeah, we might be round about Kansas City as well, trying to figure out what we're going to do for dinner, even though it's like super late.
Nothing like a 10. Oh, it'll be extra late too, because are they on Central or are they on Mountain?
They're on Central, so it's actually earlier for us now.
Yeah, although it was still like 9 o'clock.
Yeah, it'll be like 10 o'clock or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens. It's cool to like also still see. This hotel doesn't seem like it has as big of a bar. So like I
Oh, no.
walked into the lobby and the first thing I see is like the Art of War team just sitting there in the lobby waiting for an Uber. It's like, you monsters.
We need the bigger bar.
we're gonna need a place to go get drunk.
Can't wait to see them. Well, you see them walking around with bottles of wine open at 9 a.m.
I'll share. I'm not sure who else here. I saw Nick Body and I saw John Lennon. I did not see anyone else yet. So, but yeah,
We'll talk
so
a little
I'm
bit more about that at the end because I'd like you to go over your list and if anything changed and stuff like that.
It did not. I was too lazy. I actually almost thought last minute to like just take the Thousand Suns.
Oh man, that would have been.
I don't know. I was almost just like fuck it. But the only reason I did it is because I knew that like I haven't practiced with it enough. So it's not that I'm trying to be competitive. I just don't want to take that long with Thousand Suns.
Hey
Like
man, you're fine.
that.
You'll just tie.
Yeah, the last Thousand Suns player I went against just took literally mountains of time. So I did not want to do that. So I was just like, I'm going to take Tau. And they either die really quick or they kill everything really quick. Those are the two options. With
Yes, you just have so many dice though. That's the problem.
Exactly.
Also, long games.
Mhm.
But hey, it's time.
It's time.
Torn a fucking Dorn.
All right. I have to say that this is the shittiest book. I'm just kidding. I just want to have Trainwreck his blood pressure to increase by a ridiculous amount at that moment.
He's
Did
driving
he just
to work
say?
right now, shaking.
Pauses it. Doesn't even listen to the rest of this. Automatically messenger. I'm done with everybody.
Pulled over. He's messaging you.
So this book, like I said in the beginning, just does not have any bad parts. I can't think of a single
The
thing.
only thing I don't really like, I mean, I still liked it, but I feel like the ending was super rushed.
You know, I thought that as well, but honestly, like everything got resolved.
It
Everything.
did get resolved, but it got resolved super quick.
Yeah, but I also feel like it made sense. I was thinking that too because I'm sitting there with like 50 pages left. I'm like, how the fuck are they going to do this? And then
Yep.
everything happened. I was like, wow, it was really fast, but
I don't think it was bad.
Yeah, it all made sense. Like it wasn't like I'm trying to think of a book like the ending of fucking uh Angels of Caliban.
Well, I say Exterminatus, and I was like, bro, I didn't read that book.
Yeah, well, also Angel Exterminatus. Both of those books are really good examples of just books that were just like, and then boom. Just,
I don't know, man. I couldn't even read the last 50 pages of Angels Exterminatus because it was like, this book doesn't end.
I know.
Please,
I
please
guess
where
that's
does it
true.
end?
That's true. It might be the exact opposite situation there. This was a really fast ending. I think it was delivered well. They could have slowed down a little bit. I do think so. At a certain point, it reached a climax, and then it was a real quick drop, like
Yes.
real quick. But that's okay. So let's talk about it a little bit. This story obviously follows Arcamus. I don't have my book with me. I forgot it in Lexington. Is it Arcamus?
Archimus?
Arcamus?
I don't know.
So Arcamus is the Praetorian of Dorn. By that, he is the protector of the protector.
Yes.
Which is really interesting. And he is in charge of hunting down some Alpha Legion infiltrators that have infiltrated the Terran system, more specifically, at that point, even the Emperor's Palace. And so he goes out, he gets a couple people to help him out, and he has to hunt down the Alpha Legion. While at the same time, Dorn is trying to figure out how to deal with the Alpha Legion being on Terra and what they're supposed to do about it. And I think this book confirms that the best Alpha Legion, the best Alpha Legion Legionnaire is Rogel Dorn. Rogel Dorn out Alpha to the Alpha Legion.
He did.
Although, it was very good.
I want to talk to you about the end because it made me second guess things.
Sure.
About the Alpha Legion, which, I mean, that's the Alpha Legion, right? You're supposed to second guess everything they do.
Mm-hmm.
But just going into the book, we open up with the talk between Horus and Malahurst. We talk about that, which, plot twist, actually the end of the book.
Really?
If you think about it, at the end of the book, Omegon is Alfarius is called by Horus. And Omegon goes up and I am Alfarius.
I think it's questionable.
I think the start is the end.
It could work both ways, which is a very Alpha Legion thing to do.
Well, I would assume if they knew what happened at the end, then the chorus should know if Alfarius is gone.
That's a good question. Is like, that's a very good Alpha Legion question. Is because you have the beginning where Horus is like, let's send the Alpha Legion. And the question is, did Horus actually know that Alfarius was already attacking, or did Alfarius attack out of his own volition? Because you do kind of have like a moment at the end too of some things Alfarius says to Dorn that makes me believe that that might be true. That Alfarius went on his own volition, he did this whole thing, and then the beginning was the end. Oh, that's such an Alpha Legion story. Oh my gosh. So I do want to say too about this book, one thing I loved. This is an Alpha Legion book. It is not an Imperial Fist book. It's definitely an Alpha Legion book.
Which is so confusing why Trainwreck likes it so much.
I know. It is 100%.
It's literally just the ending. He's like, yeah, man. Pure Fist, cool.
Pure Fist is sweet. I mean, don't get me wrong. They came off really well in this book. But it's an Alpha Legion book first and foremost. And what's weird about this is I do think, like, in my mind now, as I have been reading through all the books, Dorn is shaping up to be the main character to me. Because he has beef with fucking everybody.
So during one part, I think it's a backstory, but at one point, Dorn asked Archimus, like, what are you afraid of? And then Archimus comes back later and asks him the same question. He's naming off the Primarchs, and Kurz was the last one on like his list before he said like what he was afraid of. I was like, oh, we know.
Yes. Well, we had the whole, was it the Lightning Tower? That whole short story about him just talking about how terrible Kurz is. And then you have like the entire thing between him and Portorabo. They hate each other. Although I feel like that hate is very one-sided. I feel like Portorabo's like, oh, I hate Dorn. And Dorn's like, who are you?
Wait, you're my brother?
I had no idea that we had this thing. I was hating on Alfarius and the Night Haunter.
Dude, fucking Iron tried to kill me. I hate that guy. He's a dick.
This book is also a battle of ideals, as most Warhammer 40k books are. But there is obviously this concept in the Imperial Fists chapter or Legion as war should be fought as war. And they're kind of having to dive. We've already seen this previously with some, like in Nemesis. When
it makes me want to talk about the ending so bad. Because,
I know. We got to get there. We got to get there. Maybe we start like going through and just going through the book. So the Alpha Legion attack, and what we basically get is several pods of Alpha Legion incursions being awoken at the same time. Some of them are brand new to Terra, so they have reached Terra, and they're there to infiltrate the palace. Some of them have been on Terra for like 10, 20 years, maybe even more.
Yep.
So they actually don't even know about the heresy. They just get woken up. And they're like, hey,
these are your parameters.
Yeah, apparently the Alpha Legion has been like keeping legionnaires under Terra for years just in case. And they gave them, they can't, like if they were in court, right? There's no way they can make this defense. It's not like, oh yeah, we put it there to protect Terra. Interesting, because mission parameter, whatever says to destroy Terra in the Imperial Palace.
No. You misinterpreted our encryption. Let me unencrypt it for you.
Those are Omegon's boys. It's nothing to do with me. So yeah, you have all of these pods kind of waking up and doing various things. The first thing they do is hit the castle and palace, and they make this just like badass little point where they blow up all the Primarchs in the...
Well, I'm pretty sure... Isn't Salonius in that group that does that?
Yes. So Salonius is an important character for us to talk about. He gets introduced. He's one of the people that arrived on Terra recently. He's able to get into the Imperial Palace. He works with several others and they all die, destroying the statues of all the Primarchs. But Salonis is able to make it out and flees. Really cool moment in the beginning of the book is when the only two statues that remain are the statue of Alfarius and the statue of Rogel Dorn, which sucks because that's such a cool. If I was thinking of like intros for a TV show, it would be like in that courtyard of the statues, like kind of going through as the music goes on and showing all the different statues of the Primarchs. I think that'd be really cool. But that was only two.
Yeah, it was really cool. Like Rogel Dorn shows up and he's like, ugh. It's him. And fucking Archimus is like, so what did you do this for? He's like, his fucking pride.
It's fucking Alfarius, dude, and that is so true. I can't wait to talk about the story later on in the book where like Rogel Dorn goes to meet Alfarius at that planet. Yes. So Rogel Dorn wants to go hunt down the Alpha Legion on Terra and in the solar system, but he has a really good point that he makes, and this is another thing I like about this book. The points that are made make sense. They're not like, wait a minute, Conrad Kurz had a dream about him being killed by the Emperor's assassin, and therefore the Emperor must not be dead, and therefore it's just like all over the place.
And I'm the lion.
So this is nice because he's basically saying, hey, I can't just send a shitload of people and go on full lockdown from Alfarius, because he's going to do more damage to us doing that than if we just hunt him down individually. You know, he's like the snake. Like, you're going to be more scared of the snake's presence than the snake could actually do damage to you. I loved it. I thought it made a lot of sense. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I agree. I mean, that's kind of their tactics anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they go in, they just cause a little mayhem, and then people are scared. They don't know what to do.
And Archimus is the guy that doesn't really want to do this, but he's like, yeah, whatever. He's like the head of the bodyguards of Rogel Dorn. And he's like, like whatever you say, I'm going to need some resources. But I think what we can do is kind of go back into the three backstories of Archimus real quick. Yeah. And we can kind of hit on Rogel Dorn's interaction with the Alpha Legion, which is my favorite of the three backstories. But
yeah. I really like the first one too. So
the first one's good.
The first one is he's a child
named Kai.
Yes, named Kai, and he's just in a room. And in this room, he doesn't see people like ever. He just keeps getting like random things of food, like a fucking prisoner. Mm-hmm. And finally, at one point, there's a guy in the room. And he's like, fuck. And the guy, I don't remember what the hell their conversation's about, but
like, what do you fear or something? Yeah,
but he ends up getting dragged out and gets put in front of fucking Rogel Dorn. He's just like, shit, I have to kill this guy. He does not kill him, but he is not happy about it all. And then Rogel Dorn's like, well, you're gonna be one of my sons. It's gonna be cool. Good luck.
Yeah, he goes through the entire Space Marine training, which is one of the best illustrations, I think, of becoming a Space Marine.
Yeah, it was fucking crazy. It talks about like the surgeries that happen, like at
the
first,
torturing.
Like, the first time, like they're asleep, and like after that, they're awake the whole time as they're getting fucking organs shoved into them. They're in fucking like a room, like chained together, and you get attacked by fucking monsters and have to survive and shit.
Yeah, they go through an entire like torture process where they mentally torture each other with like VR, and then people go insane. Either they die or they get turned into servitors, which is worse. So yeah, he obviously survives this, and one of the last trials he has is getting put on basically like a practice mission with two of his other.
Yeah, so the very first room he was in, he was chained to two other guys. One was named Archimus, and the other one was like Conrad or Yonad or something like that.
Yonad.
Yeah, Yonad. And they've worked like several times together. At that point, they were kind of friends, and they are in this last mission together. Like nothing's fucking happening. And Kai is like, look, we're wasting our time. Like, let's just like meet back up and figure out a game plan. And both of them are at first like, nah. It's like, come on, guys, we're being bitches. And finally, Archimus is like, all right, I'm coming. And as he starts coming, they get fucking attacked. And during this fight, Chris gets killed, and Kai almost gets killed. He loses his arm and leg, which they like mentioned a billion times how he has prosthetics.
Yes, which is I think important because most of the Space Marines that have prosthetics, I don't even know because they mention it once,
Fair.
and
I'm
I'm
sorry,
like,
Bjorn.
yeah, Bjorn. I'm pretty sure Garo has like a leg.
Yeah, because he lost his leg.
Yeah,
Isfan.
yeah, something like that. So yeah, he ends up taking the oath to become an Imperial Fist, but instead of taking his own name Kai, he takes the name Archimus.
Yes. Also, they do their oath. They fucking just shove their hands in fire and then do a whole oath. And fucking Dorn's doing it the whole time. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Dorn puts his hand in the fire. One aspirin. He had 200 of them, by the way. 200.
I'd be like,
Or is it 20?
I think it was like 20. I
Okay.
don't think very many. Yeah, the original 20 is what they called
Yeah. So 20 people individually, one at a time, put their hand in the fire, say their oath, and then they get to pull their hand out. Dorn stays in for all 20
just like,
people.
oh, what's next? Let's go. It's hot.
He pulls it, it's gotta be just bone, and it slowly heals. And I'm like, I would have been like, let's just sign some papers.
Here's a seal of oath. Here's one for you.
Oh, real cool ceremony. Let's hurt ourselves.
Imperial Fists.
Greatest moment of my life.
Burnt my whole fucking hand off. It was awesome.
Oh,
I'm an
now I
Imperial Fists.
can't serve the Legion anymore. I don't have a hand. So yeah, we'll see what happens to Dorn's hands in the future.
It's
So
foreshadowing. They get burned off.
yeah, when they get to the second flashback, and this is I do want to say this as well. I do enjoy the amount of flashbacks we got of Archimus's backstory because it makes his character a lot more interesting.
Yes. Although this one, I really didn't give too much of a shit about.
The second one, the Orc
Yeah.
invasion. This was
was
super long.
It was long, and it felt like I was like, man, where's the story going right now?
Yes.
But so yes, there's an orc invasion, and the original like captain of Arcus has died during it. So he gets put in charge and starts building fortifications. And they're doing okay. And Rogodorn shows up and he's like, not bad, kid. Not bad. So we're gonna like abandon this place and go do something
But
else.
fuck it. Well, this looks really good. Trash. I got a better fortress. I got a better idea. I'm a Primarch, you weak ass.
Build better walls next time, bitch.
Wow. I'd totally keep this fortress if it wasn't weak as shit.
So that happens.
They killed the orcs.
They killed all the orcs, and then at the end, Dorn's like, not bad, Captain.
Not bad, kid. That's that story. Yes, the weakest of all three of the stories. What I enjoyed about that story is it really did show the battle tactics without talking a lot about the battle tactics. Like it wasn't like Holguin sitting there describing every battle tactic of the Deathwing. It was like, here's a battle that they're in, and it just happened. And you as the reader get to understand how they operate from that.
Yeah, it was like 3 like actual fight scenes in it. One of them was like, all right, so they walked into a pit and then we caught the whole thing on fire.
I loved that. That was the coolest thing about the Imperial Fists is they're like, what's the best way to fight people? With grenades and explosions. It's like, that's genius. Like if only every other legion was doing this. Like,
I'm
okay.
pretty sure that's what the Alpha Legion used. Because that's what
Yeah.
they did this entire book.
Alpha Legion was genius with the amount of grenades that they threw.
Also, so last episode you talked about how like the Alpha Legion always seem badass, but like you don't feel like they should be. Are they all slightly bigger than normal Legionnaires?
It seems like it in the third story, which we'll get to. I do want to talk one more thing about the second story. There is a remembrancer, or not yet a remembrancer, in this story. Do you remember who this is?
Is he the dude from the short story that Dorn talked to? That was like, he wrote like the entire fucking like book for him. It's like, there you go.
Yeah, but do you remember what happens to him?
Yeah, Dorn killed him.
Dorn has to kill him. So another
Yeah, he's the
thing,
first remembrancer, right?
yeah, the last remembrancer is the
Well,
title
yeah.
of the story. Yeah. So another thing I just love about this book is there are a lot of short stories that revolve around it, but you don't have to read them. And some of them they're just like side character things, like
Just like nice Easter
understanding,
eggs.
yeah, like knowing who Yonad is and the fact that he's the person in charge of Pollux and knowing who the remembrancer is. I just really love those pieces because it makes this piece where they're like talking and hugging and everything's great feel a little bit more crazy, gives a little bit more depth. You're like, hey, he kills that guy.
Yeah, he actually had a relationship with that guy. Like we know,
Yeah.
like they talked about it in the short story, but like we never like got that, and like we actually got that here.
Yeah, it was good. Then we get the third short story, which is a compliance to a planet that the Alpha Legion was working with the Imperial Fist on, or at least they found out the Alpha Legion was working with them on. What was it? It was like I remember the Imperial Fist were talking. They're like, "Hey, so we found out the Alpha Legion was here. Oh, how'd you find out? Well, we went to go take a city, and they had already taken it. And then they just send a Vox channel that says, "Congratulations, the Alpha Legion is here to help." like,
Which is
like they've won a prize. Like you've been rewarded with the assistance of the Alpha Legion. So that Dorn is really pissed off in that story because the planet was brought to compliance. Not necessarily, there was warfare, obviously, but the end in the final act of compliance was because the Alpha Legion basically assassinated like 200 ranking.
Yeah, it was like anyone that was in succession of the king was killed. So it was just the king at the end. He's like, well, shit.
Yeah, in like an hour. Like in the span of an hour, in one night, like 200 people were assassinated. And yeah, Dorn doesn't like this. He goes in, he's like, you shouldn't have killed those 200 people. And man, the argument they have here is an amazing argument. It's a great argument.
I agree with Alfarius.
I very much so agree with Alfarius here. But I see the slippery slope. So Dorn's like, listen, like, I would rather kill people in the field. And Alfarius is like, you would rather 20,000 people die in the field than 200 rulers who are slavers die in their beds.
Yeah. And realistically, how many of them are actually going to be okay, but the Imperium taking over and someone else ruling them?
Yeah, if it were up to me,
they will most likely be killed.
I would rather those 200 individuals die than one soldier, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And the thing is, World War II is like, that's not how war should be fought. They should not be fought in the shadows. They need to be fought in the battlefield, which is a very like happy-go-lucky way to look at it. But I do see his point because it is a very slippery slope. The Alpha Legion did kill 200 people, but they've done much sketchier shit.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't even talk about the bodies that were buried under Terra at the time.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of shadow play that Dorn's not okay with, and it is very much this book, like we said earlier, about idealism of warfare. The Imperial Fists do not like fighting war in the shadows. That is where the Alpha Legion live.
Also, before that, we didn't even talk about how when Dorn like goes in there,
yes,
there's three
like one of the best
Legions, Alpha Legionnaires, and like they're all like fucking with them. He's like, "You're the fucking Alfarius. Fuck these guys." He's like, "Ooh."
Oh, but the way he does it is even better, right? So there's one guy on the throne, and he's like, Alfarius, like, reveal yourself. And another person reveals himself. He's like, oh my fucking God, Alfarius, reveal yourself. So then a third person reveals themselves, and they start walking up to him. And they're like, well, which one is which? And Dorn's like, Jesus Christ, it's that one. And the other two start walking away, and he goes, just throws a fist at the one in the middle, just like punches him at full Primarch speed, and the dude dodges it. And he's like, that one's Alfarius. He's like, yeah, because Alfarius can just dodge it, like not the other two would have died. So he goes, Alfarius is like, you knew it was me the whole time?
I found interesting though?
What?
The Omegon wasn't in that room.
I actually have a little bit of thoughts about this meeting. I don't know if Alpharius was there.
Interesting. So you
And
think
here's the
oh my
reason
God.
why. I don't know if Omegon was there either. Here's the reason why. This is my thought process. So Dorn is drilling him.
This is going down the Appalachian rabbit.
Dorn is drilling him, right? And just like, and then Alpharius is answering back and saying, like, oh, this is the way of war. This is how we do things. And Dorn at the end is like, as he's leaving, he goes, it didn't even make any sense. Like, your timing didn't make any sense. Your timing was super far off. He was like, you should have done it then if that's what you wanted to do. Like, you didn't even execute it to maximum efficiency. Like, it was poorly executed as well. That was his final statement as he left. And that just made me think, like, yeah, they didn't execute it to what a Primarch would have done. I almost wonder if Alpharius was not even at that planet, because I feel like if he was, Dorn wouldn't be able to give him the feedback that he did. Because the idea is like you didn't even execute it to full efficiency. In my mind, that's like, that must mean Alpharius isn't there because he would have.
So it's interesting. So I was talking to Trainwreck earlier about this. And he's like, do you understand the point of why they had the scene? And I was like, well, it was just to say, like, oh, yeah, Dorn can tell you, like, who Alpharius is. You know, at the end, what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, exactly. Dead. I was like, I mean, I agree. He's probably dead. But under your theory, I can see him not being dead.
I do think Alpharius is dead, but it's not for that reason. It's the Omegon reason. It's what happened to Omegon.
Yeah, what Omegon says is definitely yes.
Yes. But yeah, the whole thing that can say, like, oh, Dorn can identify Alpharius. The whole thing of him leaving and saying, like, here's like a bunch of points that you should have done better makes me think that like Alpharius wasn't even in the room. That's my thought process.
It's interesting, at least.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Yeah, and in that room, it was Salonius and Peck.
Yep. So let's talk a little bit about Salonius and the Alpha Legion groups that are on Terra. Those are the 3 flashbacks we get. They're all super awesome to read about. My favorite was probably the Alpha Legion one, but I do understand why the first one's also very good. So Salonius is able to escape the Imperial Palace, and he meets up with Pylonus? Fokron, yeah. So Fokron and his squad, which also includes a few humans, including a Psyker.
Cardis, Ms. Madra.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's another one.
Yep.
Gordon shows up as an Alpha Legionnaire.
Yeah, so during that process, they meet up. Another Alpha Legionnaire leaves the group, just saying, like, I am Alpharius, and leaves.
Yep.
And basically, that squad is trying to get off of Terra, while Archimedes is gathering his squad. So he only gets 2 people. One of them is another Imperial Fist. What's the other Imperial Fist name that he gathers?
Starts with a K.
Kato?
It's not Kato.
Kato.
Kizaru? Something.
That seems super far off.
No, fuck you. It's closer than what the fuck you had.
I think it's Kato.
It's not. Hold on. I'm trying to find my damn Kindle app on my phone. Okay. On a door.
My God. Anyway, he gets this guy, this Imperial Fist, in order. The idea is he's
Castros.
Yeah, like Kato.
Shut the fuck.
So he gets him in order to help him on his mission, but they also stop in at the moon. And this is actually really cool.
Yeah, this is the Selenar conversation we had about which is Selenar were. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
so they recruit a girl named Andromeda, yes, which is cool.
Yep, not to be mixed up with the Mass Effect.
No, not at all. They didn't.
She was written better.
No TM attached. So they have Andromeda, who is a witch, Luna. What are they called?
Which is a Delanar.
Okay. And they were responsible for helping the Emperor create the Space Marines from the Primarch gene seed, which is super interesting little bit of information. And they hate the Imperium. But because they were kind of forced into compliance, like the Imperium fought them in order to bring them into compliance instead of like signing a nice little contract like they did with the Mechanicum. If they also had giant robots with guns, maybe they would have been able to enter a contract.
Yeah, they fucked up. Instead of working on genetics, build fucking robots.
Just build guns, okay? If you have guns, the Emperor is going to give you a pass.
I mean, that's what Dorn's been doing for like the last like 6 years on Terra.
Exactly.
Can you hold a gun? Get on the wall.
Yeah, get up there. Oh, you're a psyker? Can you hold a gun? Great. I'm just kidding. Get in the phalanx.
Yeah. To the dungeon.
So those are the two people that he gathers. And they were able to locate basically a person that they believe allowed the Alpha Legion to enter Terra. They locate him, and they end up running into the other Alpha Legionnaire that said, "I am Alfarius," and walked away from the group earlier.
Before we go into this, there was something I thought was an interesting comment that the Andromeda had said. Before they started the hunt, Pestros talked about how there was no way that the Silinar knew about the Alpha Legion because they should have only been being like made in the last like 20 years or so. And she's just like, LOL, okay. Which makes me think maybe Alfarius was first.
Yeah, there are a lot of rumors. I really want to read his Primarch book. That is the rumor about it. I'm sure it's like multiple times confirmed. But yes, I think this was a major hint dropped by John French saying like, do we really know that Alfarius was the last one discovered?
Yeah. I mean, maybe Omegon was the last one, but I don't.
I could see that, one of either one, but yeah. So I enjoyed that, the whole back and forth between them and her revelation of how they worked on the Legion. So that was kind of cool. They go and hunt down this guy, though. They get into a firefight with the Alpha Legionnaire. They kill him and successfully rescue the guy. I say rescue, captured the guy that allowed the Alpha Legion in, and they did some torturing. And Andromeda did some awesome torturing.
Yeah, her torture scene was cool. So what they did was they put him in like a hot fucking room. Like, all right, need fucking water.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why the Imperial Fist guy's like, that is so wrong. Like, bro, your fucking Primarch has a bunch of psychers in a dungeon, like mentally torturing them to see if they're okay for the Imperium. I don't want to fucking hear about her making someone thirsty. Like, shut the fuck up. Makes no damn sense.
I don't even want to hear. I'm thirsty. Oh, that's terrible.
Quick, get him the water.
Oh
He
my
needs
God.
an IV.
Just morally gray. That's all I'm saying.
But anyway, so he's in this hot ass room. He's sweating. He was in there for like quite a while. And finally, she goes in there and she's carrying just a jug of water. And she's just like asking him questions. And the guy's like, I don't fucking do anything. Fucking water. And she's like, here's like a shot glass water. That's what you get. Tell me some more things. And then he just like takes the shot. He's like, oh, that was so good. Oh yeah, water.
I'll tell you everything.
He basically just like starts telling her absolutely everything, and they're like, all right, cool. Get some water, buddy. We're going to go bring out the Alpha Legion.
Yeah, so they basically send a signal from him to the Alpha Legion's contact saying that he's alive and he's going to meet them on this like rock. The Alpha Legion intercept that, and they're like, "Oh, we got to go kill him." So Solanus and Fokron are like, "All right, let's go kill him on this rock." And this rock is super interesting. What the hell is up with this rock?
Well, before we even get to the rock, we have the moment with Harness.
Oh yes, because they send a signal to the Alpha Legion.
Yes. Well, hell, even a little before that. So they're on their way to this like relay station because they need to send a signal, and Incarnus is talking to one of the other like Alpha Legionnaires, asking him about the harrowing, like what they mission. He's like, "What is that?" And he like taunted him. He's like, "I don't know, use your fucking powers and figure it out." So he's like, "All right, so I'm gonna fucking do that." So he starts getting in the dude's mind. The Alpha Legionnaire didn't like that, and as I don't remember exactly what he did. I think he like punched him or something.
Yeah,
Or
just
Salonius
punched him.
came in
Yeah.
and like had him his foot on his chest, and he like read Salonius's mind and was like, "Holy fuck, something about this guy ain't right."
Yeah. So there's a big tip off to Salonius. So I want to give us like a pat on the back because both of us thought,
Yep.
both of us knew, we knew that either Salonius or Focron was going to be either Alfarius or Omegon. And that turned out to be true. We do find out on the rock that they get to. It seems like the Psyker is going to betray them. So he's able to get away. He actually gets captured by the Imperial Fist at this rock. But that's when Focron does die. Salonius is able to leave with the other human, just slaughters Imperial Fists on
Yeah,
the
there's
way.
like groups of them. He's just like, "All right, they're dead."
Mhm.
But like after like he kills all of them, Ms. Madra, it's just like, "What are you?" It's like,
Well, what do you? Sorry, you cut out there. What'd you say?
after he did all that, and she asked like who he was or like what he was. It was just like, oh.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what all the Alpha Legionnaires would say.
I am
I'm
Alfarius.
Alfarius. So it does get revealed to us around this time that he is actually Alfarius, sort of.
Sort of.
Sort of. And this is very confusing to me. Now, Treyarch was messaging me about this, and I get the concept. I don't
I was
understand the
also
execution.
confused. Yep.
So, obviously, they didn't just send Alfarius in there. What they did was they swapped the minds of Alfarius and Solanus. So, Alfarius is in Solanus's body, and Solanus is in Alfarius's body. Right?
No. Alfarius is still in his body. So they sent Alfarius and his body, however, with Salonius's consciousness. It was very confusing. But yes, because I said the same thing, and Sharon was like, no. It was actually like Salonius was in Alfarius's body until he was awoken by the code.
Until Alfarius was awoken by the code?
Yeah. Like when he put together the spear, it awoken Alfarius as Alfarius, and
So Alfarius.
so fucking Alpha Legion bullshit.
So Salonis like existed in two places at once, basically.
So Alfarius was in oh man, it's so confusing. Alfarius's consciousness was in Salonius body. So like the Salonius on the Alpha was Alfarius until Alfarius was awoken by putting together the spear.
And then Alfarius's consciousness was now in Alfarius's body.
Yeah, it just fucking shot through the fucking warp. I don't know how the fuck that happened, but pretty dumb.
The part
Not a
that
fan of
doesn't,
that.
yeah, the thing that was confusing to me there was like, I thought they had just switched consciousness.
I thought the same.
And the question I have about that was like, okay, Alfarius is obviously a badass, but like, now he has Salonius's body. So does that still make him like a Primarch badass? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I had the same exact like thought process because I was talking to him because there's still people that believe that Alfarius is alive, and I was like, maybe it's because like his body's still alive. He's like, no, that was him in his body. He's like, what?
I question Trainwreck's description.
He said it
on
makes
this.
more sense on the second read through, but I'll never get through that.
I feel like Trainwreck's like, I love the Imperial Fist. Not only he's going to convince us that not only did they kill Alfarius, but they also killed Omegon. If you reread
Omicron was actually Focron the whole time.
if you listen, there's a lot of context in there, and here's why it makes sense. Man, what an
The
Alpha
head
Legion
canon's
book.
real.
What an Alpha Legion book. So Solonis gets revealed to be Alfarius. Big surprise.
Yeah,
Um,
I had no idea.
So this is another thing. So I was able to predict all the big shockers in this book, but that's also because we've been reading 50 some, or we're on like book
It feels like 50 something, yeah.
30, maybe even 40, somewhere close to
I
40.
think we're on 38.
So 39 if you include Garo.
Oh yeah, I was here, I'll double check us. Let's see, we are about to start Corax. Corax is number. Corax is number 40.
Okay, so this is the 40th book for us since we've read Garo. So yeah, so we read 40 books of Horse Heresy, so we're able to predict it. I feel like if somebody came into this like relatively blind, it'd be crazy. But like I think like even when Dorn said that he was gonna leave, I was like, this guy's about to do some stuff. I really
Yeah, it didn't make any sense for Dorn to leave.
yeah. So
He
when
hasn't
they
left Terra this whole fucking time. You
yeah
think he cares about a random ass planet? No.
yeah. So that is an important part that we haven't covered yet. During this time, Dorn also announces to a large portion of the security of Terra that he is planning on leaving and leaving with a massive force to go help a planet. There's a lot of alarm bells going off in my head in that. And immediately what happens is alarm bell number one, somebody goes and tells the Alpha Legion.
All right, let's go just like kill Big E real quick.
Yeah. And so then I was like, okay, alarm bell number two, Dorn's not that stupid, that he's probably planning around this. And I think it was very clear that he was doing that. The way he did it, though, was really cool.
Yes.
So, yeah, basically, just to kind of speed things along, because I know we're kind of reaching a certain time point here, but it all kind of converges on Pluto. Alfarius and his squad make it to Pluto. They're being chased after by the main character, that his name I continue to forget, Archimus, and Sigismund's force.
You don't get
Sorry, sneeze there. Sigismund's force is also stationed at Pluto, so we do get to see Sigismund a few additional times. I think
he's just fucking slaughtering
Legion. Just murders people, and that's literally all Sigismund does, which is fine. That's what Sigismund's supposed to do. But yeah, he gets attacked by a giant wave of Alpha Legion ships that are all pathetic. And then it gets revealed that there's 200 more Alpha Legion ships being led by Solanas. So a bunch more appear in the solar system, and all of a sudden Sigismund is crushed. And it's looking pretty bleak because what ends up happening is Alfarius is able to trap all of the characters in this room where he is, and he stabs Archimus right through the chest.
Yep. Right through one of his hearts with this badass spear thing.
The Moon Solar Witch was able to kill the Psyker because it was revealed that this whole thing was a trap, including him, revealing where they were going and all that fun stuff. And things are looking very bleak for the Imperium until Dorn arrives on the Phalanx.
Yes, fucking drifting off some planets.
Yes, so basically he just turns all of his engines off. He's like, we're just going to float using all of the planet's gravity to get to Pluto at this exact time because we're pretty sure they're going to be there. What a 3 million IQ move.
For real.
Yeah, lands at the right time. He just comes in. He's like, all right, blow up those 3 ships. Now blow up those 3 ships. All right, now I'm going to go kill Alfarius. And then he did in like 2 pages. All that happened in like 2 pages.
So fast. And I want to talk about the battle between him and Alfarius because I think so. This whole time, I had always figured that Alfarius wanted to join Horus's side for like Big E's grand plan because the Cabal revealed that in Legion that if Horus won. Eventually, chaos would die out, and then the Emperor's dream would happen.
Yes.
Or if Horus lost, everything was going to go to shit. So it's like, okay, well, we'll join Horus so that the Emperor can get his dream. I thought that was the side he was on, and then on this, he's like, as he's fighting Dorn, as he's dying, he's like, look, I did this to open your fucking eyes. You cannot fight this battle like you normally fight battles. Like, it's not gonna work.
Yeah. Which is interesting because you would think that he's trying to actually. Now, I think Alpharius was actually trying to take Pluto.
I think I don't think
Yeah.
he like wasn't not trying.
Yeah,
Like,
I think he got outmatched
he was
by
fighting
Dorn.
to the death. I do too. I just think that he was trying to make a point to Dorn.
Yeah, one thing that is annoying about the Alpha Legion in general, when we read Legion, it was an amazing book, and we were like, wow, this is going to go so many places, and then it didn't. So we don't have a good understanding of the Cabal. We don't have a good understanding of where the Alpha Legion are at with the Cabal.
Well,
Like,
last time we saw him, Alpharius, I'm pretty sure it's Alpharius, threw the little Cabal orb into fucking space.
Yeah.
Those guys.
And they currently have like the way to create new Space Marines from Deliverance Lost. And Omegon also seems to be fighting Alpharius, weirdly, but that also doesn't seem to be the case here.
Yeah, like it's like how I pictured it, because in Deliverance Lost we had like conflicting things between like Omegon doing things on his own.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought Omegon was side Big E, Alpharius was side Big H.
Yes.
But that might have been
Mm-hmm.
opposite.
Maybe Alpharius was trying to do something, but it's incredibly unclear with the Alpha Legion and their legions, as always. And they're just continued to be not necessarily shrouded in mystery, but shrouded in confusion.
Yes.
Like, there's just not a clear. The Alpha Legion, in my opinion, are written to be like a bad guy when they need to be. When they're like, oh, we need a really cool infiltrator group. The Alpha Legion. You know?
Yeah, I think like they use like the twins as like a way for them to play both sides without really either being on either side.
Yes, and it gets annoying. And so this one, it's frustrating because the way that this book did the Alpha Legion, really good. The way that Legion did the Alpha Legion, really good. The way Deliverance Lost did the Alpha Legion, really good. 3 completely different Alpha Legions.
Yes.
And we actually have no idea like what they're trying to do. So it's weird because was Alpharius trying to take Pluto? Probably. Was he trying to help Horus defeat the Emperor faster? Probably, but we also think that there's a good chance that he did this without Horus even knowing.
Yeah, because so for those that don't know, at the end, after Alpharius killed, Horus is like asked for Alpharius. Then you have a scene with Omegon, who's like, the first time in my life I feel alone, which signifies, Alpharius dying.
That to me confirms Alpharius' death more than anything. Is that scene we get with Omegon being like, oh my gosh, like what's happened? Like he has a psychic connection that's being lost.
Yeah. And as he walks up to Horus, he announces himself as he goes, I am Alpharius. Like,
yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah.
That the whole fucking thing. I don't even know like where to go.
Yeah, I don't know where to go from there either. The Alpha Legion remains to be a mystery. It remains to be what is their goal. Is Omegon now locked into being Alpharius, and is he going to help Horus? What was Alpharius'
like
purpose
now,
there?
Omegon is kind of going to be like a revenge tour.
To kill Dorn?
Yeah.
Maybe. So I also want to talk about another really cool trick that this book does is you get really good character death in this. Obviously, we have a death of a Primarch. We have a death of the main character, Archimus. But at the same time, no one actually dies.
Yeah.
Because even though an entire Primarch dies, Omegon's there to now be Alpharius. And even though Archimus dies, just like he did when he was Kai and took his oath, the new person takes his new oath
Yeah.
as a bodyguard as the name Archimus.
Yeah,
So
Keratos or whatever.
yeah.
Became
So the two characters that die actually come back as somebody else.
yeah, that's an interesting concept there.
Yeah.
You're
So
right. Things happen, but they honestly don't happen.
exactly. We still have Archimus. We still have Alpharius. They're two different people, but they play the same roles.
Yeah,
So
honestly, the loss of Alpharius doesn't matter to be honest.
it really doesn't.
And heck, even their whole like mantra is like, "We're all one."
Yes.
So really, even if Omegon dies, it'll just be someone else be like, "Oh, I am Alpharius."
Yeah. I'm really curious to see like, and another thing too, especially with Alpharius, one thing that's frustrating with GW is like they can just like write. And that wasn't actually Alpharius. And everyone would have to just be like, okay, fine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I guess since you gave us literally nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's still a great book. That's not a detriment to the book. It's a detriment to the way the Legion itself is written. I wish they were more fleshed out. Again, we talk all the time about how in the Horus Heresy, there's too many mysteries. There's so many things that they're purposefully hiding, probably because they make money off of it. That's just like I love the idea of leaving stuff up to readers, but there are too many things I think that they still have.
Yeah, you could even like argue like, oh, maybe Omegon was one of the second or 11th Primarch, and they were like, oh, well, you're a twin, so why don't we just merge?
Yeah.
That's why there's a billion fucking Alpha Legion at all times randomly.
Yeah.
Fucking series.
They just pull in however many ships or Alpha Legions. Yeah, because at the end of the time too, like they like revolt on a planet, and there's like hundreds of people.
Yeah.
That come up from the mines as Alpha Legion, like
yeah, the whole Alpha to Omega. Alpha
yeah, it was like a cult of the Alpha Legion on this planet. I was like, how did they like hide that? Like, I get a dude or two, but entire cult, I don't know. Yeah, they just do seem to come up with. Oh, and there's also 13,000 other people on this planet that are Alpha Legion. So it's kind of interesting. I like the book. I said interesting probably 30 times in this podcast.
Man, it's a good thing we're not doing shots for that.
Yes. That game did come up, and I think that would be very difficult for me to do. I would keep saying it the more I drink.
On accident. That be funny. How interesting this all is.
Yeah. So what were your overall thoughts of the book?
I really liked it.
Yep.
I don't think it's a top 5 book for me. Probably a top 10.
I think it hits my top 5.
Really?
I think this is just after the first Heretic.
Really?
Yes. Because if you think about it, I think there's just very few, if any, flaws to this book. The problem with it is it never wows you, but it does. It kills a Primarch, but also it doesn't because it's Alpharius. So there are some wows. It's not like warp wows. It's not like Argal Tall going into the warp dimension and eating several other space marines to stay alive for 3 months or something like that.
Not the concert scene in Fulgrim.
Yeah, it's not the concert scene at Fulgrim. It's not just the amazing masterpiece that is 1,000 Suns. It's not Betrayer.
Sport.
But I think it squeezes in there pretty closely. Like, it is definitely one of my favorites. I would almost compare this. I think it's just a bit above the level of Fear to Tread. Hell in the Cell.
I would put this one above No Fear for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that would make it like my top 6. I think I would have like Betrayer, Fulgrim, First Heretic, Thousands. No, that's Scars, Thousand Suns, probably Path of Heaven. Then
Path to Heaven is really good. I think Pat Damon was better than Scars.
Yeah, I
That's a
just didn't
good
want to do
point.
like recency bias, but yeah, I'd probably switch those two.
Yeah,
But
that's a
definitely
good
Yasuke
point.
was fucking crazy. I'd probably put it 7. It's still top 10. I mean, 40 books, and that's pretty good.
Yeah, it was definitely like one that I'm like, you need to read it. It's great. Like, absolutely read this. Obviously, Importance to
Actually, I
Heresy.
put Path of Heaven above Thousand Suns
I disagree with that.
and Scars. Actually, I put
This that's blasphemy there.
Thousand Suns was good. I think Scars was a better version of Thousand
Yeah, well, agree to disagree.
Suns.
I just love Argument too much, I think.
I mean, I really like Armin, but
Magnus is a whiny bitch.
Magnus is a whiny bitch.
Yeah, good point. Poor Cersei, I mean, this has got to be a 10. I mean, a big, big, big thing happens here. We haven't seen something like this happen since book 5.
Yeah, we have
Death of a
that.
Primarch.
We actually had plot kind of move.
A little bit, not a lot, but yes.
Yeah, not as much as I was hoping. Although at the end we also have the announcement that the Scars have made it to the
Yeah.
Soul System.
Yep, so this all happens before Path to Heaven, around this, probably at the same time as Path to Heaven. So,
Yeah, like the end of Path of Heaven.
Mhm. So yeah,
I'd put this at points probably as a 10. Enjoyment 9.
9. It's a 9.
It was good. I enjoyed it a lot. It was definitely an Alpha Legion book and not an Imperial Fist book.
Yes, it was an Alpha Legion book. I'm sorry, Trainwreck. Like the Imperial Fists were there, but also fucking
The only
Rogel
character
Dorn.
that was cool was Archibus.
Rogel Dorn was like a legitimate Alpha Legionnaire in this. He pulled some serious Alpha Legion stuff.
It was like, how do I make my Legion better? By being
Yeah.
a different Legion.
Like half the time, he was like, "Crap! Like I think we actually have to fight in the dark, like the Alpha Legion."
Yeah, you'd have like a point where like Macador shows. It's like, this is better suited for me. He's like, yep, my guys got it.
Trust me, I figured it out. I'm just gonna do Alpha Legion stuff. So yeah, I think that's where we land on that.
Yeah, that was it. Our review. Next week we will be previewing Korax, which it's so weird that we've had
So
book
many
and we
novels.
don't have a short story or a fucking anthology coming up.
You know what's after Korax? Emperor Mankind, like a whole
Holy
other book.
shit!
I know.
I keep getting so scared that Shattered Legions is next.
Shattered Legions is after Emperor
Oh, man.
Mankind,
It's
but
like, all right, we're gonna give you your peak, and then we're going straight to the fucking ground.
oh, just like the worst possible. We had no idea. Maybe they're amazing stories, but we're so scared.
There's no way, literally no fucking way. There has not been a single Shattered Legion story that's been like, that was good. It was always like, oh my god,
Damnation of Pythos.
not terrible. You're right.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that is it for us this week. As always, hit us up on the Discord. It's pinned to our Twitter at Heresy Lodge. You can also email us at theheresylodge@gmail.com. We are also on YouTube. Please go over there, like, subscribe, leave a comment. We have some sweet merch. It will be in the show notes, so check it out. Buy something. We have pint glasses, sweatshirts, hoodies, t-shirts. That might be it. Oh,
Yeah,
stickers, mugs. Those
if
are all
you're
the
in
things.
Kansas City, come say hi.
Yes, go say hi to Gavin. He will be running his Tau. It will probably not be top table, but we're gonna cheer for him to get there. Hopefully he gets on stream.
The 2 armies I lost to last time have been nerfed.
There we go. There's a chance.
Yeah.
If you get on top table, you gotta not top table too. But if you hit stream, let us know before they start airing it, because we gotta fucking talk shit somehow.
For sure.
All right, guys, that is it. I hope you guys have a good one. We'll be back next week with our preview of Korax.
See ya.